When I opened my eyes for the second time, I was staring at a wooden ceiling, wrapped in a blanket, with tiny useless hands and the kind of body that could be defeated by a heavy spoon. At first, I thought I had been kidnapped by a medieval theme park with terrible lighting. Then a maid leaned over me and said, "Young Master Adrien is awake." And that was when my brain slammed into the wall of reality. Adrien. Not my old name. Not my old life. Adrien, the name of a minor noble, child from the game I had played for 6 years. A boy who was mentioned once in a loading screen, twice in hidden lore, and never appeared on screen unless the player unlocked the bad ending. I remembered this room. I remembered the blue curtains. I remembered the silver moon crest carved into the crib. I even remembered the family manor, because in the game, this place became a haunted ruin after the Demon King's invasion in year 12. Which meant I had been reborn inside the world of that game. And worse, I had been reborn early. Hero had not awakened yet. The Saintess had not gathered the party yet. The Demon King had not risen yet. The continent was still peacefully sharpening the knife it would use to stab itself later. I should have panicked. Actually, I did panic. I cried like a baby for 8 minutes straight, which was embarrassing until I remembered that I was literally a baby, so everyone praised me for having strong lungs. For the first few years, I played the role of a quiet, noble child. I learned the language properly. I practiced walking without looking drunk. I listened to the adults talk about trade, magic, monsters, borders, and taxes. Taxes were even scarier in another world, which proved some evils were universal. The problem was that I knew the future. The hero Owen would awaken at 16. Grace, the Saintess, would gather the chosen party. The Demon King would rise in year 12. The final war would burn half the continent, crack the sky, flood 2 kingdoms, and turn the northern plains into a field of glass. Every important artifact, dungeon, betrayal, and secret boss was stored in my head like a cursed strategy guide. So when I turned 5 and my magic awakened, I thought I was ready. I was not ready. A blue window opened in front of my face while I was eating soup. Name, Adrien. Role, Hidden Calamity Candidate. Ability, Temporal Dominion. Danger rating, Final Boss Potential. I dropped my spoon. The maid thought the soup burned me. The soup was cold. My future was not. Final Boss Potential. The words pulsed like the game was laughing at me. I had not killed anyone. I had not betrayed a kingdom. I had not even stolen a cookie without feeling guilty, but the world had already put me on a villain route. The original game had hidden bosses. Some were demons, some were ancient dragons, some were fallen heroes. But the worst kind was the hidden calamity, a person born with an ability so absurd that the world itself tried to correct them. In the bad ending route, a mysterious time demon froze an entire capital and walked through the stopped city like a god. The players never learned his name. Now I knew why. Because his name was mine. I spent the next week trying to act normal while secretly testing my ability. At first, Temporal Dominion looked simple. When I focused on something within 3 feet, I could freeze it in time. Not ice. Not slowing. Freezing. A falling leaf stopped in midair. A candle flame froze without burning down. A cup of milk stayed suspended after I tipped it over, white droplets hanging in the air like glass beads. It was beautiful. It was also terrifying. Because the moment I released the freeze, everything continued exactly as it should. The leaf fell, the flame flickered, the milk splashed. Time was not broken. Time was waiting. And if I was careful, I could make time wait for me. I began training like a coward, pretending to be a genius. I froze pebbles in the air and stepped on them like stairs. I froze drops of water into invisible lenses and used them to magnify tiny letters. I froze the hem of my own coat to stop myself from falling face first into a fountain. I froze a bee 3 inches from my eye and had a long philosophical crisis while it buzzed silently in place. The range was tiny, the duration was short, and every freeze gave me a headache. But there was one trick that changed everything. I could freeze only part of an object. Not a clean slice, more like a field, a small area. When I froze the tip of a wooden stick and swung it, the unfrozen part bent around the frozen tip and snapped. When I froze a water droplet's outer shell and left the inside moving, pressure built until it burst like a tiny bomb. I was 5 years old, holding a wooden training sword, discovering physics crimes. That was when I promised myself I would never become the Demon King. I would avoid the villain route, I would hide my strength, I would live quietly. I would collect enough resources to survive the final war and maybe save my family manor from becoming a haunted dungeon for level 20 players. Simple plan. Then the church came. Church always arrives first in games. In the tutorial, they smile, heal a sick child, say something about divine mercy, and ask for donations. In reality, they brought sealing chains inside a velvet box. I was 7 when the bishop visited the manor. He smiled at my father, praised my manners, and asked to test my magic. My father looked proud. I looked at the velvet box and felt my stomach sink. The chains inside were not for testing. They were called mercy chains, a holy artifact used to seal dangerous abilities. In the game, they were used on possessed nobles, rogue mages, and one secret boss who screamed for 30 years under a cathedral. I knew because I had farmed that dungeon for rare drops. The bishop asked me to place my hand on a crystal. I did. The crystal glowed white, then blue, then cracked. The room went silent. The bishop's smile did not move, but his eyes did. I saw calculation. Not fear, not concern, ownership. Young Adrien has a rare gift, he said. A gift like this should be guided. Guided meant taken. Tested meant opened.
Saat aku membuka mata untuk kedua kalinya, aku melihat langit-langit kayu, tubuhku dibalut selimut dengan tangan kecil yang nyaris tak berguna. Tubuhku begitu lemah sampai sesendok bubur pun rasanya bisa mengalahkanku. Awalnya aku mengira aku diculik ke semacam taman hiburan bertema pertengahan. Lalu seorang pelayan menduk dan berkata, "Tuan muda Adrien sudah bangun." Saat itulah otakku menghantam kenyataan. Adrien. Adrien adalah nama anak bangsawan kecil dari game yang sudah kumainkan selama 6 tahun. Karakter yang hanya disebut sekali di loading screen setelah invasi Raja Iblis di tahun ke-11. Artinya, aku terlahir kembali di dalam dunia game itu. Lebih buruk lagi, aku terlahir jauh lebih awal. Sang pahlawan belum terbangun, sang santa belum mengumpulkan rombongannya. Raja Iblis belum bangkit. Aku belajar bahasa dengan benar, belajar berjalan tanpa terlihat mabuk, mendengarkan orang dewasa membicarakan dagang sihir, monster, perbatasan, dan pajak. Ternyata pajak sama menyeramkan kejahatan yang universal. Masalah, perang terakhir akan membakar separuh benua, meretakan langit. Seluruh artefak penting dungeon, pengkhianat raya, potensi bos akhir. Usiaku 5 tahun dan sihirku terbangun, masa depanku yang tidak dingin. Aku belum pernah mencuri kue tak menempatkanku di jalur villain. Aku menghabiskan seminggu berpura-pura normal sambil diam-diam menguji kemampuanku. Dominasi waktu ternyata bisa membuka apapun dalam radius 1 meter. Daun yang jatuh ternyata bisa membuka apapun dalam radik manik kaca. Waktu tidak rusak, waktu hanya menunggu. Gereja selalu jutongkatkannya, bagian yang tidak beku akan patah. Saat aku membekukan luar tetesan air, tekanan menumpuk sampai ngampunan di dalam kotak beludru. Aku berusia 7 tahun saat uskup mengunjungi manar. Kristal yang kusentuh berpendar putih, lalu biru, lalu pecah. Senyum uskup tak berubah, tapi matanya kulasi kepemilikan. Malam itu orang-orang uskup menyusup ke kamar Bunda Matina. Orang keempat menyerangku dengan kain beredam obat tidur. Aku membekukan cairannya dalam kain sehingga kain itu mengenai wajahku dalam keadaan kering. Aku menggigit jarinya, bertahan hidup tak butuh keanggunan. Uskup mengaku imbalas dengan membekukan tehnya sejengkal dari bibirnya saat sarapan. Ia tak pernah berkunjung lagi, tapi pesan sudah tersampaikan. Dunia mulai berhati di usia 9 aku gahalu tunya namun bertukar dia. Pawan hero aku belajar tinggal lawik ketika kau berguna bagi skrip mereka. Penjahat disebut penjahat ketika kalah, dan jika sebuah game menaikkan bos akhir, semua pihak akan mempelakanku sebagai harster atau kesalahan. Dari sumur pelumpur dan cairan melambang baru semua jadi bingung. Aku mengambil jam pasir sambil berkata terima kasih atas mulus leherku. Aku memberi hujan di antara kami sehingga tingginya menabrak dinding air yang tak bergerak. Saat keluar dari sumur penuh lumpur dan cairan balanmu jawabku. Anak jalan kurusis dari sudi itu pergelanganmu bandit terhadap kafilah. Aku membukan hujan di antara kami saat aku membekunya di tengah tusukan. Apa kau tanyanya? Mengganti jebanan malu ciptaanmu jawabku. Aku terlahir